Hey guys, what's up, and welcome to Taking Over the Photo Pit, a music photography podcast held by yours truly, Boston Schultz, where I interview badass concert photographers. This week, I'm so stoked because I'm going to be talking to Olivia, and we're going to be talking about photographing our personal heroes, traveling with photography, and being in your local scene or national scene or worldwide scene. So we're going to talk about all of that, and I'm so excited, but I'm going to kick it over to Olivia for their intro. So hi Olivia, I am so excited for having you, so thanks for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Thanks. I'm so excited. Okay, let's just jump into it. Give us a quick intro of who you are, how you got started in photography, where you're located, your whole background about shooting and all of that fun stuff.
Absolutely. Okay, so my name is Olivia, like you said. I'm located out of Arizona, just outside Phoenix. I've been shooting professionally for about 2 years now.
Nice.
And it's interesting because I never meant to be a concert photographer. I was always a writer first.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so I went to school for writing, and I never took a photography class. I never did anything like that. I was a journalism major, and I wanted to write. So I've been taking pictures out of necessity because I was covering shows, but we couldn't get 2 passes.
Yeah.
So I jumped into the pit with the camera that I already had, and the rest is history when it comes to that. So it's only been about 2.5 years that I've been shooting, but it's been amazing and a whole path I didn't know was for me.
Wow. So I often hear about, people starting out as photographers and then getting into writing as well, just not necessarily the opposite of that. That's so cool that you started out in writing. Did you have interest in photography before, or were you just look, I'm doing this, we need photos, and then you went out and bought a camera? How did that all happen?
It was a little bit of both. I had taken some photos in college, just part of a class that I was doing. It wasn't a photography class, it was a multimedia class.
Okay.
So I had a little bit of experience with professional cameras, but I never thought I had much talent for it. I was always more focused on words. So later on, I had been out of college for about 4 or 5 years, and I started working for this publication that I helped found. So we needed photos for the stories that I was writing, and I just decided it was time. So I literally just jumped in with both feet, and here we are.
That's awesome. Okay, you mentioned founding a publication, so let's just jump right into that. How did that come about? What was your reasoning behind, making your own publication, and how do you get started with that?
It was an interesting thing because, like I said, I'd been out of college for a few years, and I hadn't been able to get a job writing. So my best friend was doing some concert promotion around the valley here in Arizona, and he decided that he wanted to go out on his own instead of working for other companies. So he decided to found Atlas Artist Group, and he wanted a publication side of it as well, so we could cover the scene that we were working in. And it morphed from there. So it was interesting. He was just like, I really want to do this. I want you to write because neither of us have been able to get the jobs that we've wanted, so we might as well just do it ourselves.
Yeah.
And it worked out really well. We're 2.5 years in, and it's amazing. I can't believe that I get to work for myself, I guess. It's nice.
Yeah, that's really cool. How many opportunities has that opened up for you? Because I've heard from other people that founded their own publications. It's it really opened doors for them to take the gigs that they really want and do the things that they really want since they're working for themselves, so do you have any tips for people that might be considering that route? Do you suggest it? It sounds like you're super happy with your situation, so just wondering if you'd pass along any information or advice about that.
Absolutely, yeah. The first thing that everybody should know is that it's not easy. A lot of doors will close in your face before they'll open.
Oh, yeah.
So it's good to be realistic about that, for sure. Just because the industry is so saturated and everybody wants to put their foot in the door, and I think that's great, but it takes a minute. So we weren't successful right off the bat. I'm not sure if we're that successful now. I mean, I would consider it success. But if you want to do it, just go for it.
Yeah.
One day, it was literally one day. We had a conversation, and then we just started. And that, you just have to do it. And that's the only way it's ever going to happen. And it's a lot of hours, and this doesn't pay my bills, like I have another job. But it's really nice to have my own schedule and the things that I want to cover and the things that I want to write about, and also being introduced to so much music that I normally would not have heard. So it's worth it if you want to do that, but just make sure that you have other things going on too, because it's very helpful to have options.
Yeah, totally. There is a lot of like sticking with things and just starting that is so much to do with like the music industry. You really just gotta like put your feet in and like, or wait, I said that backwards. Jump right in, not put your feet in. Like start out just like hard, just like jump in, and like also just like stick with it. And like if you're really motivated, like it sounds like you're really dedicated to what you're doing, and when you keep doing that, like good things will come to you. So it's like It's great to hear that like, you know, you found something that you're super passionate about and keep moving forward with it. That's really cool. Let's talk a little bit about like success in the music industry and like what you want to do with like your career. What would be like ideal for you? What do you want to accomplish? Like I want to hear more about like your journey and what you're looking forward to.
For sure, yeah. I think success for me is just, I'd love to do this full time. I've always wanted to work in music, you know, 24/7. And it's never really felt like a job. Like sometimes it's harder. Some days are harder than others. But success for me would be doing it as for a living. Yeah. So if this publication or whatever the next thing is, if there is a next thing, I would just love to be in this 24/7 and, you know, shoot shows and talk to bands and go to events and that sort of thing. I just want to tell stories. So success for me would be getting to do that all the time.
That's awesome. Okay, so now you brought up some more questions for me because I want to hear a little bit about like what are you trying to do with like your, I guess, like photography and writing and publication. I'm not explaining this well, but what I'm trying to get into is I would love to know more about like, are you interviewing bands? Are you sitting down and doing like, I guess like reviews? Are you doing concert reviews? Like what is your overarching like, I guess, storyline for like what content you put out when it comes to the music industry?
Well, you nailed it. We do all of those things.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah. So I was like not explaining it well, but also kind of nailed it. So that's fantastic.
It was perfect.
Love it. Love it. Are you doing work right now just with this one publication, or are you doing like other things on top of it?
At the moment, since we're in the middle of this pandemic and things are kind of slow, it's just been Atlas Artist Group. We've been doing content whenever we can get it, because obviously there's no shows, so everything's slowed down a little bit. But we do a lot of interviews, and we do a lot of album reviews when there's music coming out. We do roundups, we do playlists, all kinds of things, whatever it takes to show people the things that we're excited about. So lately it's been a lot of interviews, which is amazing. I love talking to artists, and they're chomping at the bit to talk about their music. So it's been great. It's awesome.
Yeah, especially with like a lot of people being in quarantine right now. I can imagine that artists are just so excited to be, you know, talking and doing something. So that sounds like a lot of fun to like sit down and interview people.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of Zoom calls just like this, and I've been talking to artists that are just, they're so restless, you can tell. They're just looking around and they're like, when is the next time we get to talk about this or tour or whatever it is? Yeah. And I understand, because all of us want to be back in the pit, and we're just waiting.
Yeah, and Zoom is a blessing and a curse. It's like, it's nice to see other people and like have these kind of connections and talk to people, but at the same time I'm like, I'd rather meet up with you in person and, you know, chat about this over a cup of coffee, but that's personal preference, I guess, here.
I understand. I miss sitting in loud green rooms trying to get good audio, so I completely get it.
That sounds like such a challenge. I can't imagine being in a green room trying to get audio.
It's a mess. I mean, somebody's always sound checking, or somebody's walking in with food, or the manager doesn't know that we're not done yet, or the band is, coming back from whatever they were doing, and everyone's like, oh, wait, you're in the middle of an interview. It's like, yeah, don't worry about it. There's no quiet places at a show.
I love that. Okay, so I want to know a little bit more about, like, who you work with. Like, do you do mostly, like, coverage of local bands and collaborating with, like, local bands when it comes to, like, photography and even, like, reviews and write-ups? Or are you talking to, like, larger bands? Or, I guess, give us some ideas of, like, who you're working with and, like, how often, like, when we were outside of quarantine, when things were more normal.
Yeah, I started working with local bands because I've been in my local scene for almost 10 years now. So, I mean, it's changed over a lot in the last decade. Bands break up, we get new bands, people move away, that kind of thing. So I started working, I would shoot shows for my friends just to get experience. I would just show up with a camera and they'd be like, come hang out, it's fine, because we all know each other.
Yeah.
And then as Atlas started to build momentum, we would cover more national acts. So I spend time with all different kinds of people. I don't normally do local interviews necessarily. We spend a lot of time covering more national acts on the website.
Nice.
But either way, I mean, I'll take pictures of anybody. It doesn't matter. So it's cool. Like, whoever wants to have me out at a show, I'm there for it.
Nice. I love that. I love working with local bands and, like, just kind of the local scene and community. And I know a decent amount of photographers and writers that are like, we got to get the national acts. I'm like, okay, we all love those national acts. We really, really do. But at the same time, there's such a cool vibe when it comes to local bands. So I love hearing someone else saying, like, yeah, I'll come out to any show. You want me there? I'll be there.
Absolutely. And you have to cultivate your local scene. If you have a local scene, you're so lucky. Like, being able to have bands that are just around that you can be friends with, or just go to a small show and meet more people. I mean, like I said, I've been doing it for 10 years, and that's how I started. I figured out how to go to shows with local bands, because I had no idea what I was doing. Yeah. And now these people are my friends, and if anybody else is doing that and making friends with bands like that, that's the best in to music.
Yeah, for sure. You befriend a local band and then watch them, like, rise up and go on some, like, national tours and be like, bring me with you.
Proud parent moment. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That goes into my next question. I wanted to talk about, like, whether or not you, like, tour or travel when it comes to, like, music photography or, like, writing, anything that you do in the music industry, or do you like, kind of stay in your scene?
I've never toured.
Okay.
Not as a photographer or writer. I toured a really long time ago as a manager, but that was that's another story. But now I do a lot of traveling for shows, just one-offs here and there. Like, if the location is right. I travel every year to Chicago for Riot Fest.
Nice.
And shows in that area. Yeah, so it's whatever, if it's the right show and it's the right moment, I'll always find myself in another state at another gig.
Nice. What, like, qualifies it to be, like, the right show? Is it just, like, you know, something that you're really passionate about and you want to go to, or is there, like, something that pulls you for all of these, like, traveling shows?
I think a lot of it's timing. It's just like, if I have the right moment to go. A lot of it is if the tour isn't coming to my state and I can't see it, and I'll end up in California. One time I ended up in Seattle. I was in Baltimore for 24 hours and I ended up at a show. It's always just, like, luck and timing and things of that nature. So I spend a lot of time figuring out if the right tour is going to come to Phoenix, and if it's not, I get on a plane.
Nice. I love that. I would love to travel more with photography. Seeing people in, like, different cities and seeing, like, the different, like, cities have totally different scenes, it seems like. Mm-hmm. So it's like, to go and explore those scenes, that sounds like a lot of fun.
It's so cool seeing other venues in different states.
Yeah.
And seeing how different things can be and how fancy some of these places are. And I've been to so many, like, dive venues in other states. The best shows ever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's cool. That's one of my favorite parts. Like, the show is really cool, but, like, exploring all these different venues is fun for me.
Yeah, I can believe that. Cool. Let's kind of hop back to talking about, like, your personal work and goals and accomplishments and stuff. One of the things that we talked about, you know, over Facebook message and stuff is you talked about, like, photographing some, like, personal heroes. And this is something that, like, when I started doing concert photography, I was always like, oh, I would love if I could get, like, even a free pass in to go see this person. And then, like, photographing them was, like, a huge step up and stuff like that. So I definitely understand, like, the joy that photographing someone who's, like, you have this, like, personal hero or you look up to them. Definitely understand that, and I want to talk about this more. So, like, I want to talk about, like, your personal heroes, how you got to, like, photograph them, and, like, why was this so important to you? I just, like, want to hear all about it.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, it's my favorite thing. I've been in so many photo pits that I had no business being in. I'm just like, how did I get here? Who approved this? And I'm always on the edge, like, I wonder if they're gonna kick me out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's so, that imposter syndrome that, like, everyone fights with. It's like,
yes.
Even if you, like, you, like, really worked for it, everyone's like, wait, why am I here? How did I get here? Oh my god. But I love that.
I try not to do it in the middle of the set, but sometimes before I'm just like, somebody's gonna tell me I'm not supposed to be here. But there's been a few moments like that with, like, heroes of mine that have been so surreal. Like, I got to photograph Frank Iero on a couple of occasions, and that's as close as I've gotten to My Chemical Romance. So that was so cool. And they're doing the reunion, so I'm just glad that I get to be there when it happens.
Yeah, and but I see that you have My Chemical Romance posters behind you, so...
Yeah. I'm their biggest fan. And I have tickets to the reunion, but, you know, seeing Frank with his solo project on so many occasions and getting to be there with my camera, and, like, you get a different perspective when you really love an artist. You can always tell when a photographer loves who they're photographing, because the pictures are just so alive. They're so vibrant. And I hope that comes through when I get to photograph my idols, because I already know what I'm looking for, and I already know what I'm excited about. Yeah. So I'll be in the pit, and I'm just, like, laser focused on it, and it's so exciting for me. So Frank Iero was one of those, and I'm from Arizona, so the Maine was another one. And, I mean, I've been watching them for 10 years, and finally getting to be in the pit was the coolest experience. Because we've known them forever, and we've grown up with them, and being right in front of them with a camera is a whole different ball game. And it was nice to be able to capture that, you know, in photograph form.
Yeah, I love that. There's definitely, like, something about it when you're in the pit and you're taking photos of someone that you look up to or a band that you've listened to for so long, that I agree with you. Like, there's like a separate kind of look to the photos. Like, I don't know if it's just like, you know what you're gonna capture, you know what they're doing, you kind of, like, capture their, like, vibe or essence better than just kind of just being like, oh yeah, it's this dude on stage. I totally get that, and I love that. I love hearing stories of, like, people accomplishing or, like, doing something that's been, like, a bucket list where they're like, this was amazing. I love that. I want to dive into more about Warped Tour, actually, because I don't think I've mentioned this on this podcast, but I have never photographed Warped Tour, and this has come up numerous times that, like, people I know are like, how the hell have you not photographed Warped Tour? Because I've been shooting for about 6-7 years, and you got to shoot the last tour, so I want to talk about Warped Tour. What was it like? I'm sure that you were probably, like, a fan of some of the music that you got to photograph. So, like, what is it like being at Warped Tour, shooting bands that you're a fan of, just, like, the whole experience?
That was another moment that wasn't really supposed to happen. Yeah. I got very, very lucky with that one because I had initially been turned down because it was the last Warped Tour. Okay. Yeah, and their media team had said no because everybody and their grandmother wanted to photograph Warped Tour.
Of course.
Yeah, it was the last summer. And I'd been trying for years. And they only approve a certain number of people, and I was never, like, big enough in the publication world to get a pass. So I'm part of a group called Girls Behind the Rock Show. And it's, yeah, and yep. You know this because that's how we met. But then for anybody who doesn't, that was mostly for people who don't know what that is. Yeah. So Girls Behind the Rock Show, obviously, is for women and non-binary people in music. And there was an opportunity posted for the Truth Truck. And the Truth people are like those commercials you used to see when you were a kid, like the anti-smoking commercials.
Okay.
Yeah, and you would see those on, I don't know, it was on like every channel. It was like, this is your body on drugs, or like, this is what nicotine does to your eye. Yeah, it's those people. So they have a big orange truck, and they go on Warped Tour every year, and they have a DJ, and they do games, and they give away t-shirts, and they spread the anti-smoking message. Okay. And they were looking for somebody at every stop of Warped Tour to come out and cover what they were doing all day. And you got a photo pass to Warped Tour, you get to hang out with their crew for the day, and then when you were done with that, you could go do whatever you wanted. So they gave me this photo pass, and I got to photograph every band that I wanted to see that day.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and it wasn't supposed to happen. I was just going to go and hang out for the last Warped Tour. And they got me this photo pass, and I was in the pit for 303 and Simple Plan and all these bands that I love. And that was another one of those moments I was on the edge. I'm like, they're going to kick me out. They're going to realize I'm not supposed to be here. But it was amazing. I had barely been photographing shows at that point. And I had like my first DSLR. I had a kit lens. I had no idea what I was doing. And I had the best summer. It was the best day ever. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I can definitely imagine that. That's incredible. I did want to say really quick that like photography groups and local community groups on Facebook are the best for getting yourself into like situations and things that you want to do, because there's always posts like exactly what you're talking about, that like someone's like, look, we need someone to do this, and like we're gonna hire someone to do this, and this is what you get. And it's such a cool opportunity. And if you're looking for experience or like want to get into something, you know, those groups are like perfect for it. And I cannot tell you how many times that this exact Facebook group, the Girls Behind the Rock Show, they've helped me with so much. I've met so many people off of it. I've gotten jobs out of it. And it's just like, if you're not connecting on Facebook with your local community and like broader groups in the music industry, you're doing it wrong.
Absolutely. Yeah, I could not agree more. Like, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you without that group. Yeah. I wouldn't have had so many opportunities without groups just like it. And I can't, talk it up enough. You're absolutely right. Like, get involved, and then you'll get more gigs, and you'll get to do what you love.
For sure. So these Warped Tour photos that you got to take because of this job, like, has that helped you, like, kind of, like, I guess, found your photography? Like, because you were saying that was, like, a kit lens and, like, when you first started. So, like, did that really help you, like, kick off kind of more music photography stuff? Do you think that helped you in any way, like build your portfolio if you didn't have one before? Because that sounds like getting those bands in your portfolio right away when you're starting, that sounds like a incredible opportunity.
It really was, and it really did help, because I had to learn a lot on the fly that day, because the light was changing constantly. The venue that they throw it at in Arizona is very strange. Like, they have an amphitheater and they have the outside, so I had to learn a lot of things that I didn't have a lot of experience with initially. Gotcha. It really did. It was like a line on the resume. It was like the top line. It's like, we've done Warped Tour, so you should give us a pass to other things so we can photograph them. And I used that for a year. I'm like, please let me photograph this show because we did Warped Tour. And then more often than not, people would read that. I'm assuming that helped because we were getting more shows.
That's awesome.
And adding those pictures to my portfolio was cool for me just because I love the bands.
Yeah.
And being in front of them was cool, and seeing them that close and in that way was really exciting.
That's awesome. I'm so excited to hear that. I'm incredibly jealous still because I've never got to go, but whatever.
And that summer they were letting people photograph from the crowd at some of the venues. You could bring a camera in and just take pictures from the audience. So I did that in California for that last summer just to see if it would work, and they didn't stop me. So that was fun, but I don't know, it's not the same. Obviously, photographing from the crowd is harder. But it's nice that they were giving more people the opportunity to at least try, even if you weren't in the pit. So, I don't know, it was nice. It was a new thing for them.
Yeah. You bring up an interesting topic, because photographing from the crowd is definitely something that's incredibly difficult. But a lot of venues and locations don't allow you to do it anymore because, like, photography has gotten, like, so hyped. It's like everyone has their camera. And it's like so many venues are just like, no. Like, this is too much. Like, we're pulling back on this. Do you still, like, I often shoot from the crowd because local clubs here in, like, LA don't have a pit. So if I shoot a band, I'm fighting to be there, first of all, as, like, a fan and being, like, front row by the stage. But also trying to be respectful of other people around me. But that's something that I've never talked about on this podcast before. I'm curious, like, how often do you shoot from the crowd versus being in a pit?
It really depends on the venue out here. Like you were saying, you have a lot of, like, club-style venues where there's no pit. We have a little bit of both in Phoenix. There's a lot of photo pits out here for, like, the mid-size venues.
Okay.
And I spend a lot of time at the smaller ones, though, that are just, like, the stage is right at my knees. There's no photo pit. And I'll end up on the side of it. I've made friends with all the security guards at my local venues, so they let me go other places, which is nice. But you're right, it's a fight. And I have to get there early, and I have to do all these extra things to take pictures and make them look cool. So really, it's just a matter of how much you want it, I think. Like, if you're willing to put the time in to go early and fight people in, like, a respectful way. Like, I'm sorry. Please excuse my camera.
I love how we're like, fight everyone, get to the front, but be nice about it.
Yeah, it's like, excuse me, sorry. And I usually just hold up the camera. I'm like, I'm sorry, please excuse me. And people are like, oh, I guess, like, you're working, and that's fine. Yeah. But I'm also very tall, so they don't like me being in front of them. It's a double-edged sword.
Yes. Okay. Yes, tall people stand together, because I struggle with people getting mad at me because I am also very tall. How tall are you?
I'm 5'10".
Okay, I am also 5'10". I love this. Okay, this makes me so happy because I feel so bad because if I'm in the crowd, even in the pit, you're standing in front of someone and it's just, I feel like I'm blocking them. I feel like I'm just being super intrusive, even though I'm just literally taking up this space that my body is making me take up.
Exactly.
I love that because, whenever I fight for, like, trying to get early to a venue and everything, I always kind of feel bad about it, but at the same time I try and be respectful, where it's like, okay, if I'm gonna stand in front, I'll stand in front for, I'll even, like, put myself to the 3-song rule and say, like, okay, I'm only gonna be here for 3 songs, and then I'll back out and, like, hang out in the crowd at, like, a other distance. Still shooting, still taking, like, pictures through the crowd, but, like, not that I'm being super intrusive in the front. But yeah, we have a lot of those venues here, and it's definitely fun, but definitely a different vibe. And going back to, like, Warped Tour and talking about that, I cannot imagine taking pictures of Warped Tour through, like, a crowd or any sort of, like, big tour, like, festival, because I feel like the fans would get so rowdy. You know?
And they do. Yeah, we have a local music festival called McDowell Mountain, or M3F now, they changed the name, and some of the bands this year only let us shoot from the crowd, like Laney, they don't let people in their photo pit. So I've only ever shot them from the crowd. And it's always a fight. Even though they're so mellow, their fans are not. And then the vibe changes every single time. Every band is different. And I always find myself on the sides. Like, that's where I hang out. Yeah. Even if I'm in the front, I'm, like, off to the right or off to the left. And then I'm in nobody's way. Yeah. So, I don't know. It's just, it changed. Like, I shot the Roxy in L.A. Yeah. And that's another one where the stage is right at my knees.
Yeah, it's so strange, right?
And it's so small, and it was wild. And shooting from there, I'm like, I'm just going to stand on the steps by the bar and shoot from up here, because I can't fight with these people. I mean, it changes every single time, but you're right. Like, the fight sometimes in the crowd is hard and not worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, there was, I think I've only shot one show at the Roxy, and it was like this big show that the artist kept bringing in like other famous celebrities to come play with him. So like everyone wanted to be like front row, and it was so hard because the photographers, I knew most of the photographers there, and we were all struggling to stay in the front row because we knew that he was bringing in other celebrities through the night. So we were like, we need to stay. And our passes actually said that we could stay and photograph the whole set. Nice. But the fans were so angry about it. And like, I think I came out of that show like with like my whole back just like soaked in beer, because people were like, you know, either bumping up onto me like accidentally and spilling beer on me, or just like being like, screw this, and like throwing something on me. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is the worst. But it was a great show. I'm glad that I did it. But the Roxy gives me weird memories, I'll say that much.
It's nice to know that all the shows there are the same, because the same thing happened to me when I shot the show there. Granted, it was Beach Goons, and they're San Diego, LA, and their fans are nuts. Their fans are so rowdy, I can't even explain it.
That's funny.
Like, I've shot them 3 times, and every single time I have been thrown from whatever I was standing on. Like, I was kneeling on the stage at a venue in Phoenix, and it's my favorite venue, and they always let me side stage, and I was standing there because it's so small, and I was kneeling on the corner of the tiny little stage shooting the set, and the fans got so crazy that I got pulled off that corner and like thrown backwards into the crowd, and I just curled around my camera and hoped for the best. But it was the same thing at the Roxy, so I guess maybe it's always like that.
Yeah, maybe it's just watch, I'll get some messages after this, and people are like, it's not always like that at the Roxy. I'm like, well, it seems like it.
It seems like it.
So how often, sorry, this is going back to like the traveling and stuff, but like how often do you like travel and like come to California? Because it sounds like you've been out here a few times, and I know like you're fairly close. So do you try and travel like, you know, a few times a year? I know we're in quarantine. I keep mentioning that. But...
Yeah. I mean, before quarantine, it was definitely as much as possible. I have a lot of friends in LA.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and like tours, if they skip here, we'll always do 3 shows in California. I'm like, well, I could always just go there. So I make the drive and I stay with friends. So yeah, it's as many times a year as I can afford, really.
Yeah.
But if it's the right show, then I'll make it happen. And that was like that Roxy show in December. I was already here, or there, for a weekend. Yeah. It was the same weekend as Harry Styles for his album release. Gotcha. Yeah, so it was that weekend. And yeah, if it's the right gig and my friends are out there, they're like, you have to come out for this. And I'll just drive out and we'll make it happen.
Nice. Yeah. Always like staying with friends, and like this kind of goes back to like the networking thing, is like if you make friends through like the industry and stuff, it's like they will look out for you and also be like, like you have places to go. Even, you know, I like mooch off of all my friends that are not in the music industry and be like, I'm coming to your city if I do travel. But like having people in the industry as friends and stuff too, that like super helps. And then it's like, yeah, I'll be in your city. You want to hang out and go to the show?
Exactly, yeah. And odds are they're going already, so we just hang out and we go, and it's great.
Nice. Okay, cool. Let's ask some, like, little quick questions I like asking just to, like, get to know your, like, photography and stuff a little bit more. Are you a Nikon, Canon, Sony, or other shooter?
Canon.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
And are you digital, film, or both?
Digital. I have not ventured into film yet. It scares me a little bit.
It scares me too. I completely understand. In the same kind of question, do you do still photography only, or do you do videography as well?
Just still photography. I tried video in college. I am terrible at it. So we're going to stick with photography.
I love the honesty. Video scares the crap out of me as well. So
yeah,
that's my personal stake on it. If you could describe your photography style in 3 words, what are the 3 words?
Oh gosh. Journalistic, straightforward, and colorful.
Nice. What was the favorite show that you photographed?
I think Troye Sivan at Arizona Federal Theater. They changed the name. I don't know what it's called. But here in Phoenix, Troye Sivan played a smaller show, and that was one of my favorites.
Nice. Very cool. The small shows, like the intimate shows, are always so, like, well, I was gonna say personal, but that's, like, definitely the meaning of intimate. So yeah, they're very cool.
It's just a next level experience. You're right, it's awesome.
Yeah. Do you have any shows that are still on your bucket list that you want to photograph that you haven't yet?
Oh, I would love to be at those MCR reunion shows in the pit.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm going anyway, but if I get to bring my camera, that'll change things. I would love to photograph Harry Styles.
Yeah.
And any of the guys from One Direction, I would love to be in the pit for. Those are probably my top 2.
Nice. And are there any photographers that you admire?
Matty Vogel.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Yeah, I got all my presets from him. His blog is like gospel to people like me who have no idea what they're doing most of the time.
Love it.
Adam L. Macias is great.
Yeah.
A very nice guy. And Thomas Falcone. I really like him.
Very cool. Okay, and then I have one last, like, deep question before we end. And I don't know why I ask this last, because it's always, like, the deepest question of my podcast, and I'm like, okay, we're ending on that note. So, anyway, here we go. This is my question of, like, have you ever experienced any, like, prejudices or sexism from working in the industry? And if you're comfortable talking about it, I love talking about it on this podcast. The reason that I wanted to start a podcast, and I know if there's people listening that have listened to my other podcasts, like, I talk about how I started this because, like, I felt like there wasn't a lot of, like, a community for me to, like, go to and talk about the issues, and I faced some, like, sexism that I wanted to talk to people about, but the only mentors I had were, like, men that didn't understand what I was going through. So I like to open it up to people to talk about their experiences, to let people listening know that there's other people in the industry that have, like, probably gone through whatever you're going through, and I just love, like, chatting about your experiences and just, like, being honest with, like, what the community is like, good and bad. Like, if you have only good things to say, that's fantastic. I love hearing that. But anyway, I just wanted to open it up to you to see if you've, like, experienced anything and, like, if you're comfortable talking about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's so important to share stuff like that, because then you find out how to deal with it if you ever are faced with that in the future. I don't think I've ever experienced sexism, at least not blatantly.
Okay.
I mean, I'm non-binary, so either one doesn't really bother me. But I'm also very, like I said, we're both tall people, so I don't get a lot of nonsense from other people. Because they're always just looking at me like, I don't know what they're going to do. I'm like, that's fine, I'm just doing my job.
Yeah.
So I don't think I've ever faced any, like, sexism in that regard. It's always the same. It's always just, like, security guards or venue staff or somebody involved who doesn't really know what's going on, and they're trying to move me out of the way when I'm supposed to be there.
Yeah.
or like other photographers who think that they own whatever section of the thing that they're in.
Yeah.
And we've all met at least one. So, I mean, that's usually the worst of it. It's usually somebody trying to push me out of the way, even when I'm supposed to be there.
Yeah.
So that's happened a lot. I've been in a lot of photo pits out here where there'll be some hotshot radio photographer who tries to kick me out of the pit or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I always just stand my ground, and I think that if you have a pass and you're supposed to be there and you're doing good work, then just always stand your ground. Be like, we're all in the same boat here. We're literally in the same photo pit. There's no difference.
Yeah.
So, that's been the worst of it for me, I think, which, all things considered, is fine.
Yeah.
It could be so much worse.
Very true. And that's something that I hear a lot, and like some of it I will venture out to say it like sometimes feels like an ageism thing, that there's a lot of people in this industry that have been like shooting forever, and then like you have younger people in the industry, because we're both younger. I don't know how old you are, but like people look at someone who, like, I'm in my late 20s, and people will be like, you haven't been shooting that long. And I'm like, I have friends that are like shooting in pits and doing incredible work at like 19 and even younger. I actually interviewed someone on this podcast that she's, oh, now I'm gonna get her age wrong, I think that she was 14, and like incredible photographer. And like the thing is like, if you're looking at me and thinking that I'm too young, like, what are you like guys doing to this poor like younger person? I don't know. I think that a lot of it for me comes down to like kind of this ageism of like people thinking that they have more experience than you, that like since they've been around for so long that they like deserve to be there, or that like you don't deserve to be there because you've been like not around as long. And that's kind of what I get from like security guards, and it's definitely a hard conversation to have with people. It's like, okay, security guards are there to make sure that you're safe, like you and your gear are safe, and then it's like when they're the ones telling you to get out, it's like, how do you deal with that? Like, they're supposed to be the ones like protecting and kind of like guiding you. So do you have any tips on like how you like addressed these situations when they were going on, or were you just like, look, I'm here, I have my pass, and then just like shutting down the conversation? Or like, what were you doing when these things kind of arose?
I think it really depends on the venue. I spend a lot of time making friends with security guards and like other photographers, at least starting the conversation, because then they're less likely to look down on you.
For sure.
At least that's the hope.
Yeah.
So if I don't know whoever I'm talking to, like if I haven't seen them before, or this is my first time at the venue, or whatever it is, I'm always asking questions. Because then it's kind of silly, but then they can tell me things that I might already know. Yeah. But then at least they know that I'm aware, and they're less likely to bother me. Yeah. Because I already have the information like straight out. So I don't know, my best piece of advice or things that I've learned is always just to start that conversation, because most of the security guards are just overworked and they're dealing with a lot of things at once.
For sure.
And you're going to get the odd one out who's going to be really nasty. But everybody that I've talked, not everybody, but so many people that I've talked to in the pit, they're literally just doing their job. Yeah. And if they know that you know what you're doing, you're fine.
Yeah.
So that always helps. And now I can go to these places and just kind of smile at people and, you know, hey, how's it going? The show's going to be this tonight. They'll reiterate the rules, and everybody's doing their thing, and we all know what's happening. Yeah. So they're just, and then they'll be cool with it. So it's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Starting conversations and stuff is, like, never a bad thing. Like, having those interactions, it makes you look more approachable, and I kind of like roll my eyes because I think that's so annoying that it's like you kind of have to like seem like not I guess threatening, but at the same time it's like if I come into a pit wearing like something absurd and I'm 5'10", people are like, who the hell is this?
Been there.
But yeah, having those conversations, I think, is always a good idea. So that is a great bit of advice. Before we wrap up, do you have anything else that you want to mention, or another piece of advice that you've received that you would like to pass on to anyone listening?
You know, I have a sort of mentor out here that he's quite a bit older than me, and I've known him for a really long time. We've shared photo pits together after me watching him take pictures for so many years.
Nice.
And every single time I'm always just like, Chris, I don't know how to get on your level. You know, how do you do it? And he's always just like, one frame at a time. Learn how to take one picture and know what you're looking at. And he's like, don't take a million of them. Don't overshoot. The best piece of advice, and always sticks in my head, is like, when you point your camera, know exactly what you're going to get when you press that button. And that made me slow down a lot when I got into photography for real. Because I was just shooting. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to, hopefully I'll get 5 good ones out of the 500 I just took. And now I can take a lot fewer photos and know what I'm getting at the end. And it's so nice to be able to slow down and really focus on the craft. And I think that's the best piece of advice I've ever gotten, because now I hear his voice in the back of my head when I'm shooting shows.
I love that. That is seriously great advice, especially with like everyone that gets into the pit overshoots. Mm-hmm. Literally everyone. I think I've heard it from every single photographer that I've ever talked to. And it's like, you don't want to go home and edit 800 photos from like 3 songs. You really don't. And like most of them are going to be crap because you're not shooting with that intention. So that is fantastic advice. Well, thank you so much, Olivia. I'm so happy that you joined me today. I'm also happy that I got to meet another 5'10" photographer that likes to block other people's view behind us.
This is so exciting. I never meet people my height. It's always like 5'2", or like, I don't know, guys who are like 5'7", and we're all in the pit, and I'm just like, why am I the tallest person in a 5-mile radius?
Why am I a giant here right now?
It's like, I'm going to be in everybody's way tonight. This is terrible.
I love that, because yeah, seriously, every single person in the photo pit, when I'm like with other people, I'm like, oh my gosh, why am I the tallest person here? Struggles.
I spend so much, you just spend so much time ducking. You're like, I'm just going to crouch the whole set. I do squats the entire set.
I love this so much. Okay, so before we wrap up, can you give a quick shout out of like where people can find you on social media and your portfolio and all of that?
Absolutely. So I am the editor-in-chief and lead content creator for Atlas Artist Group. So that's atlasartistgroup.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those things at Atlas Artist Group. And my personal Instagram, which is where I post all of my favorite work, is at Olivia Khiel. So look me up and check us out, because I'm really proud of what we're creating.
Yay, so exciting. Okay, thank you again so much for joining me today, and like everyone who's listening, please go check out all of Olivia's stuff. In the podcast description there will be links as well if you cannot find things, so you have no like reason to not check it out. But anyway, thank you so much again, Olivia, for joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks.
Thank you so much for having me. This was amazing, and I hope you have a great day as well.
Okay, bye. Thank you.